I was standing in my childhood living room, surrounded by balloons and the warm buzz of family laughter, when my phone rang. It was Emma, my 12-year-old daughter, the one who was supposed to be giggling at a sleepover 3 blocks away. I answered with a smile, expecting her to ask if she could stay up late. Instead, I heard panic, pure, raw terror in her voice. "Get out, now." My stomach dropped. "What happened?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. Her words came fast, shaking. "Get out of the house." I didn't understand. I didn't ask questions. Something primal in her tone made me obey. I walked through the crowd of relatives, my heart hammering so hard I thought everyone could hear it. 30 people filled the space, celebrating my mother Margaret's 60th birthday. Aunts, uncles, cousins I hadn't seen in months. The smell of vanilla cake and coffee hung in the air. I smiled at no one in particular and pushed through the front door into the cool October evening. My hands shook as I pressed the phone tighter to my ear. "Emma, baby, what's going on?" She was crying now, full sobs that made her words come out in gasps. "Mom, you need to get away from there. Far away." I stumbled down the porch steps, my heels clicking against the concrete walkway. "I'm outside. I'm walking to my car. Tell me what happened." "I'm not at the sleepover," she said, her voice cracking. "Jenna got sick. Her mom brought me home like an hour ago." I came in through the back door because I didn't want to interrupt the party. I reached my silver Honda in the driveway, fumbling with my keys. My entire body felt electric with fear. "Okay. You're home. That's fine. But why did you tell me to leave?" "Because I heard them, Mom." Emma's voice dropped to a whisper. "Grandma and Aunt Susan, in the kitchen. They were talking about you. My sister Susan. My mother." A cold weight settled in my chest. What were they saying? They said terrible things. They were whispering, but I heard everything. I hid in the pantry. Emma's breath hitched. "Mom, they put something in your drink. Something bad. They want to hurt you." The world tilted. I grabbed the car door to steady myself. "That's not possible. You must have misunderstood." "I didn't." Emma's voice turned fierce. "I recorded them. I'm sending it to you right now." My phone buzzed with an incoming file. I put Emma on speaker and pressed play with trembling fingers. The audio was muffled at first, but then I heard my mother's voice, low and urgent. "The peanut oil is already in her wine glass. She'll drink it during the toast. Her allergy is so severe, she'll be dead in minutes." "Everyone will think it was an accident," my sister Susan responded, her tone clinical and cold. "And you're sure the concentration is high enough? 3 tablespoons. Pure, unrefined." I tested it with the pharmacy checker. At her sensitivity level, she won't make it to the hospital. The recording ended. I stood frozen in the driveway, staring at my phone like it was a weapon. "I'm deathly allergic to peanuts. Have been since I was 3 years old. One accidental bite of a cookie at a school party nearly killed me when I was 7. My mother knew this. My entire family knew this. I carried 2 EpiPens everywhere I went. Every restaurant meal was a careful negotiation, every food label scrutinized. And my mother had just tried to murder me. Inside the house, I could hear music playing. Someone laughed. A glass clinked. The party continued, warm and bright, and utterly oblivious. "Emma," I whispered. "Where are you right now?" "I'm in the neighbor's backyard. Mrs. Patterson's." I climbed over the fence. "Stay there. Don't move. I'm calling someone." My hands wouldn't stop shaking as I scrolled through my contacts. Tracy. My best friend since college. A lawyer who specialized in criminal defense. She answered on the first ring. "Karina? What's wrong? You sound weird." "My mother just tried to kill me." There was a long pause. "What?" I told her everything in a rush. The phone call. The recording. The peanut oil. Tracy listened without interrupting, and when I finished, her voice was sharp and professional. "Forward me that recording right now. Don't go back inside. Where are you?" "In the driveway. My car." "Get in it. Lock the doors. I'm coming to you. Don't talk to anyone else." I climbed into the driver's seat and locked the doors with shaking fingers. Through the front window of my childhood home, I could see people moving around. Someone was cutting the cake. My mother stood in the center of the room, smiling, holding court like the queen of the evening. Shed raised me in that house, taught me to ride a bike in that driveway, held me when I cried over my divorce 3 years ago. And tonight, Shed carefully measured out enough peanut oil to stop my heart. My phone buzzed. Tracy again. I got the recording. Karina, this is attempted murder. Premeditated. You need to understand how serious this is. I know. No, I don't think you do. Your mother and sister were planning to watch you die at a birthday party, in front of your daughter, in front of everyone. Bile rose in my throat. I opened the car door just in time to vomit onto the pavement. When I could breathe again, I wiped my mouth with the back of my hand and said, "There's more on that recording. Let me send you the full file Emma gave me." I found it in my messages. The recording was 8 minutes long. It only listened to the first 2. Tracy called me back 3 minutes later. Her voice was tight. "Karina, get away from that house right now." I started the car with numb fingers. The engine hummed to life, ordinary and steady, as if the world hadn't just shattered. I pulled out of the driveway slowly, watching the house shrink in my rearview mirror. Music and light spilled from the windows. Nobody noticed me leaving. "I'm driving," I told Tracy. "Talk to me. Pull over somewhere safe. You need to hear this whole thing." I turned onto a side street 2 blocks away and parked under a streetlight near Riverside Park. The playground equipment cast strange shadows across the empty grass. It brought Emma here when she was little. We'd spent whole afternoons on those swings. "Okay," I said. I'm stopped. Trace's voice was measured, careful. "Karina, this wasn't spontaneous. They've been planning this for 6 months. 6 months. Half a year." I tried to remember what had happened 6 months ago. It was April, spring. It helped my mother plant tomatoes in her garden. Susan had come over for dinner twice that month. We'd watched a movie together, laughed about something stupid. The recording gets more detailed. Tracy continued. "Your mother talks about a life insurance policy. She took one out on you 2 years ago. $1.2 million. My breath stopped. "That's impossible. I would have had to sign something." "She forged your signature. She mentions it on the recording. Says she used the power of attorney you signed when you had your gallbladder surgery 5 years ago. The one for emergency medical decisions." I remembered that paperwork. My mother had helped me fill it out before the surgery, explaining that someone needed to be able to make choices if something went wrong under anesthesia. I'd been scared and grateful. I'd trusted her completely. "There's more," Tracy said quietly. "Your mother has gambling debts. Over $300,000. She mentions someone named Polly who's been threatening her. She says if she doesn't pay by December, they'll hurt her." December. 3 months away. Time was running out for her. Susan's part of it too. Tracy continued. "She lost her house in the divorce last year. She's about to declare bankruptcy. On the recording, they talk about splitting the insurance money. Your mother gets $800,000. Susan gets $400,000. I leaned my forehead against the steering wheel. Susan had seemed so broken after her divorce. I'd helped her move into her apartment, bought her groceries, let her cry on my couch for hours while Emma played quietly in her room, giving us space. "They chose your mother's birthday specifically," Tracy said, "because everyone would believe it was an accident. You'd eat something, have a reaction, and with so many people around, the chaos would make it seem natural. Tragic, but natural." I thought about my wine glass. I'd noticed it when I first arrived, sitting on the side table near the leather armchair where I always sat during family gatherings. "My spot. My mother had poured it before I got there," Shed said. "A special vintage, just for me, just for her daughter." "I was going to drink it," I whispered. "I was about to, right before the toast, but I went to the bathroom first. That's the only reason you're alive." We sat in silence for a moment. I could hear Tracy breathing on the other end of the line. Steady, calm, keeping me grounded. "There's one more thing on the recording," she said. "Susan asks what happens to Emma. Your mother says she'll take care of her, raise her properly. She says Emma will inherit everything when she turns 18, so it all works out in the end. They'd planned my daughter's future, mapped out her life without me in it. As if I were already dead. As if I were nothing more than an obstacle between them and money. I need to get Emma, I said. Where is she? Neighbor's yard, Mrs. Patterson's house. Good, get her, then meet me at my office. Don't go home, not tonight. I drove back slowly, scanning the streets. Emma was crouched behind Mrs. Patterson's recycling bin when I pulled up. She ran to the car and threw herself into the passenger seat, wrapping her arms around me. She smelled like the strawberry shampoo we'd bought last week. Like my daughter. Like everything I had to protect. I was so scared. She sobbed into my shoulder. I thought they were going to hurt you before I could warn you. I held her tight, my hand on her hair. You saved my life, baby. You were so brave. Are we going back? No, we're going to see Aunt Tracy. Emma pulled back, her face pale. Are Grandma and Aunt Susan going to jail? I didn't know how to answer that. My mother was still inside that house, smiling at relatives, probably wondering where it'd gone. Probably checking her watch, calculating how long before the ambulance would need to be called, practicing her shocked expression for when her daughter collapsed. I don't know, I told Emma. But we're going to figure this out. My phone rang. My mother's number flashed on the screen. I stared at it, watching it ring and ring. Finally, I answered. Karina. Her voice was bright, cheerful, with just an edge of concern. Where did you run off to? We're about to do the toast. Everyone's waiting. I almost laughed. The absurdity of it. Her voice sounded so normal, so motherly. I'm not feeling well, I said, keeping my voice steady. I think I need to go home. Oh no, honey. Did you eat something that didn't agree with you? The concern sounded genuine. Shed had 60 years to practice this act. Maybe. I just need to lie down. Well, at least come back for the toast. Just one quick glass. I poured that special wine for you. It would mean so much to me. One quick glass. The one with peanut oil mixed in. The one that would kill me in front of 30 witnesses. I really can't, Mom. I'm sorry. Happy birthday. I hung up before she could respond. Emma watched me with wide eyes. She wanted you to come back. Yes. Even though she knows you know. She doesn't know that I know. Emma processed this, her face scrunching up in confusion and fear. So what do we do? I put the car in drive. We go see Aunt Tracy. And then we make a plan. Tracy's office was in a converted Victorian house downtown, all dark wood and brass fixtures. She met us at the door, still in her court clothes, a navy pantsuit and heels. She pulled me into a hug without saying anything, then knelt down to Emma's level. You did something incredibly brave tonight, Tracy told her. You might have saved your mom's life. Emma nodded, solemn. I didn't know what else to do. You did exactly the right thing. Inside, Tracy's office smelled like old books and coffee. She settled us on the leather couch and brought Emma a can of ginger ale and a bag of pretzels from her mini fridge. Then she sat across from us, her legal pad balanced on her knee. I've already called a private investigator I work with, Tracy said. His name is Marcus. Has pulling records right now. Insurance policies, financial statements, anything we can find on your mother and sister. Is the recording enough? I asked. For the police. It's damning. But we need to be smart about this. If we go to the police right now, your mother and sister could claim it was taken out of context, that they were joking. People say horrible things they don't mean. They weren't joking. I know, but we need ironclad evidence. We need to show planning, intent, action. The recording is a start. Now we need more. Emma spoke up, her voice small. I saw them in the kitchen. Before I hid, Grandma had a little brown bottle. She poured something into a wine glass. Then she put the bottle in her purse. Tracy leaned forward. Her purse. Is it still at the house? It was in the hall closet. Emma said, That's where she always puts it. Tracy and I looked at each other. The bottle would have fingerprints, residue, physical evidence of what they'd planned. We need to get that purse, I said. No. Tracy shook her head firmly. We need to let the police get it. With a warrant. Everything has to be by the book or a defense attorney will tear it apart. So what do we do? Tracy pulled out her phone. I'm calling Detective Linda Hayes. She's good. She'll understand how sensitive this is. While Tracy made the call, I sat with Emma on the couch. Shed stopped crying, but her hands kept twisting in her lap, a nervous habit Shed had since she was little. I took her hands in mine. I need you to tell me everything you remember, I said gently, from the moment you came home. Emma took a shaky breath. Jenna's mom dropped me off around 6:30. I came in the back door because I didn't want to make a big thing about leaving the sleepover early. Everyone was in the living room. I could hear them singing happy birthday. And then, I was going to go upstairs to my room, but I heard voices in the kitchen. Grandma and Aunt Susan. They were talking really quiet, so I stopped to listen. Why did you stop? Emma's face flushed. Because they said your name, and they sounded weird. Like angry but also excited. I don't know. It was strange. That's okay. What happened next? I got closer to the door. They didn't see me. Grandma was holding this little bottle and she was measuring something into a wine glass with a spoon. And Aunt Susan was watching her. She kept saying, "Are you sure that's enough?" And Grandma said, "Yes, I checked with 3 different sources online." My stomach turned. 3 different sources. Shed researched how to kill me. Then Aunt Susan said something about making sure everyone saw that you drank from that glass. That it was important people noticed. For the insurance company later. They'd thought of everything. Down to the witnesses who would testify that Id consumed something at the party. Then what? Grandma put the bottle in her purse and they walked toward the living room. I ran into the pantry and hid behind the flour bags. I was so scared they'd see me. But they didn't. They just kept talking about money and paying people off and how this was the only way. Emma's voice cracked. And then Grandma said, "It's better this way. She won't suffer. And Emma will understand someday that this was necessary." I pulled her close. Shed heard her grandmother plan her mother's murder. Shed had to hide in a closet, terrified, while the woman who baked her cookies and bought her birthday presents discussed killing me like it was a grocery list. "You did everything right," I whispered into her hair. "You were so smart, so brave." Tracy came back, sliding her phone into her pocket. "Detective Hayes is on her way. She wants to meet us here. Get your statements, and then we'll move forward." "What about my mother and sister? They're still at the party." "Let them be. Right now they think everything's going according to plan. You felt sick and went home. In their minds, they dodged a bullet tonight. They'll regroup and try again." The thought made my skin crawl. Try again. Yes, which is why we need to act fast. Detective Hayes will want to record everything. Then we'll set up surveillance. Wait for them to make another move. I can't just walk around waiting for my mother to kill me. Tracy's face was grim. "You won't be walking around. You'll be protected. And we're going to catch them. Both of them. I promise." Detective Linda Hayes arrived 20 minutes later. She was in her 40s, with short gray hair and sharp eyes that took in everything at once. She shook my hand with a firm grip and gave Emma a gentle smile. "I know this is hard," she said, settling into the chair across from us. "But I need to hear everything. From the beginning. We went through it all again. The phone call. The recording. Emma's account of what she'd seen." Detective Hayes took notes in a small black notebook, asking clarifying questions, her expression neutral but focused. When we finished, she was quiet for a long moment. Then she said, "This is one of the most clear-cut attempted murder cases I've seen. But it's also complicated because of the family dynamics. We need to be very careful about how we proceed." "What do you mean?" I asked. "I mean that defense attorneys love cases like this. Loving mother, devoted sister, close family. They'll paint you as the one with the problem. Maybe you've been holding grudges. Maybe you misinterpreted something innocent. They'll put you on trial instead of your mother and sister." Tracy nodded. "Which is why we need more evidence. The recording is great. But we need the bottle. We need financial records. We need to show a clear motive and pattern of planning." Detective Hayes stood. "I'm going to get a warrant for the purse and the wine glass. I'll have officers at the house within the hour. In the meantime, I need you both to stay here. Don't contact anyone in your family. Don't post anything on social media. Disappear for tonight. What about tomorrow? Tomorrow we regroup. But tonight, you're safe. That's what matters. After Detective Hayes left, Tracy set us up in her spare bedroom upstairs. It was small but comfortable, with a double bed and a window overlooking the street. Emma climbed under the covers, fully clothed, and was asleep within minutes, exhaustion finally catching up with her. I sat on the edge of the bed, watching her breathe. She looked so young, 12 years old, and Shed already had to grow up too fast. Her father had walked out when she was 9, deciding fatherhood wasn't for him after all. Now her grandmother had tried to murder her mother. What kind of world was I raising her in? My phone buzzed. My mother's number again. I let it go to voicemail. Then Susan called. Then my mother again. 3 missed calls in 10 minutes. Finally, a text from my mother. Where are you? Everyone's worried. Please call me back. I stared at the words. Everyone's worried. What a performance. What a lie. Another text. Karina, you're scaring me. At least tell me you got home safely. I wanted to respond. Wanted to type back. I know what you did. I know about the peanut oil. I know everything. But Trace's words echoed in my head. Don't contact anyone. Don't give them warning. Instead, I turned my phone off and lay down next to Emma. Sleep didn't come. I stared at the ceiling, replaying every conversation it had with my mother over the past 6 months. Had there been signs? Moments where her mask slipped? I thought about Easter dinner in April. Shed insisted on cooking everything herself. Wouldn't let me bring anything. Had she been planning it even then? Testing recipes? Thinking about opportunities? In May, Shed asked me detailed questions about my health insurance and my job benefits. At the time, I'd thought she was just being a concerned mother. Now I wondered if Shed been gathering information for the life insurance application. In June, Shed suggested I update my will. Make sure everything was clear for Emma's sake, Shed said. In case anything ever happened to me. I'd brushed it off, said I was only 34 and healthy. Shed pressed the issue. Finally, I'd promised to look into it but never did. July. Susan had taken me out for lunch and asked if I'd been feeling okay. Said I looked tired. Asked if I'd been to the doctor recently. I'd told her I was fine, just busy with work. Shed seemed almost disappointed. August. My mother had given me a bracelet with both our birthstones. Told me she loved me more than anything in the world. I'd worn it every day since. I reached up and touched it now, the small stones cold against my wrist. Had she bought it as some kind of twisted goodbye gift? September. Susan had asked Emma if Shed liked to spend more time with Grandma, maybe even live with her someday. Emma had said no. She liked our apartment and her school. Susan had dropped the subject, but her face had tightened. All those little moments. Building toward tonight. Toward the wine glass sitting on the side table. Toward my death at a birthday party. Surrounded by people who loved me. Except 2 of them didn't love me. Not really. Maybe they never had. I must have fallen asleep eventually because I woke to sunlight streaming through the window and Emma sitting up beside me, scrolling through her phone. Tracy made breakfast, she said. Pancakes. Downstairs, Tracy had laid out a full spread. Pancakes, bacon, orange juice, coffee. She looked like she hadn't slept either, her eyes shadowed with exhaustion. Detective Hayes called, Tracy said as we sat down. They executed the warrant at 3 in the morning. Your mother and sister were still there, cleaning up from the party. Did they find the bottle? Yes. In your mother's purse, exactly where Emma said it would be. It's at the lab now being tested, but it definitely contains peanut oil. Concentrated, just like on the recording. I set down my fork. Appetite gone. What happens now? Hayes is bringing them in for questioning this morning, separately. Shall see if their stories match or if one of them cracks. Can I be there? No. But I'll be there as an observer. I'll call you as soon as I know anything. Emma ate her pancakes in silence, pushing them around her plate. Finally, she said, Do you think Grandma's? Sorry, I didn't know how to answer that. I think she's probably scared. But is she sorry for trying to hurt you? Or just sorry she got caught? Out of the mouths of children, Emma had cut right to the heart of it. I don't know, baby. I really don't. Tracy left for the police station at 9. Emma and I stayed at the house, watching mindless television and trying not to think about what was happening across town. My phone turned back on, exploded with messages. My mother. The police took my purse. They won't tell me why. What's going on? Susan. Did you call the cops on us? What did we do? This is insane. My cousin Jake. Hey, your mom's freaking out. Says the police searched the house last night. You okay? My Aunt Paula. What is happening? Your mother called me crying. Should I come over? On and on. The family network lighting up with confusion and concern. Nobody knew the truth yet. Nobody knew that the woman they were all defending had tried to murder her own daughter. At 11, my phone rang. Not my mother this time, my cousin Jake, I answered. Hey, Karina, what the hell is going on? Your mom's at the police station. Susan, too. Aunt Paula's losing her mind. She asked me to call you. Jake was 36, a mechanic who ran his own shop. We'd been close growing up, building forts in the backyard, racing bikes down the street. He was honest and straightforward, and I trusted him more than almost anyone. Jake, I need to tell you something, and you're not going to believe it. I told him everything, the recording, the peanut oil, the insurance policy. He listened without interrupting, his breathing getting heavier on the other end of the line. When I finished, he was silent for a long time. Then he said, I'm coming over. Where are you? I gave him Trace's address. He arrived 15 minutes later, his work shirt still smudged with grease, his face pale with shock. Play me the recording, he said. I did. He sat on Trace's couch, his hands clenched into fists, listening to his aunt discuss murder like a recipe. When it ended, he looked like he might be sick. I'm going to kill her, he said quietly. No. The police are handling it. She's your mother, Karina. Your mother. How could she do this? Money? Gambling debts? Desperation? I shrugged helplessly. I don't know. Does it matter why? Of course it matters. Jake stood, pacing. We all thought she was fine. A little stressed about money, but fine. If we'd known she was in that much trouble, we could have helped. Jake. She didn't want help. She wanted me dead. He flinched. I can't wrap my head around it. Neither can I. My phone rang. Tracy. I put her on speaker. They've both been arrested, she said without preamble. Attempted murder, conspiracy to commit murder, insurance fraud. They're being held without bail. The judge called them a flight risk and a danger to you. Relief flooded through me so intense I felt dizzy. It's over, for now. But Karina, there's something you need to know. Your mother tried to blame Susan. Said Susan pressured her into it, that she was scared of her. Susan's doing the same thing, saying your mother was the mastermind and she was just going along with it. So they're turning on each other. Like rats on a sinking ship. Neither of them is taking responsibility. Both are playing the victim. Jake leaned forward. Tracy. It's Jake. Did they say anything about Karina? Any remorse at all? No. Your Aunt Margaret kept saying Karina must have misunderstood, that she would never hurt her daughter. Susan cried a lot, but it seemed performative. Detective Hayes wasn't buying it. What happens next? I asked. They'll be arraigned tomorrow. Formal charges. I'll be there. In the meantime, you and Emma need to stay somewhere safe. Your apartment's probably fine, but maybe stay with me for a few more days. Just to be cautious. After I hung up, Jake pulled me into a hug. I'm so sorry, he said into my hair. I'm so sorry you're going through this. It's not your fault. I know. But your family. Real family. And I should have seen this coming. Nobody could have seen this coming. But that wasn't quite true. Emma had seen it. A 12-year-old girl had been the one to connect the dots, to recognize danger, to save my life. The adults had all been blind. Jake stayed for another hour, talking through details, offering to do anything we needed. When he left, he hugged Emma too. "You're a hero," he told her. "Don't ever forget that." Emma smiled for the first time all day. "Thanks, Uncle Jake." That afternoon, Tracy came back with updates. The toxicology report confirmed the wine glass contained enough peanut oil to cause a severe, likely fatal, anaphylactic reaction. My mother's internet history showed searches for peanut allergy, death time, and how much peanut oil is lethal and undetectable murder methods. Susan's bank records showed massive debt and multiple payday loans. The insurance policy was indeed fraudulent, my signature forged. The evidence was overwhelming. "They're going to offer a plea deal," Tracy said. "Probably try to reduce it to attempted manslaughter or something. But with everything we have, the DA's pushing for the maximum, 15 to 20 years. 15 to 20 years. My mother would be almost 80 when she got out. Susan would be in her 60s. "How do you feel about that?" Tracy asked gently. "I don't know. I don't know what I feel about any of this." That was the truth. I was numb, floating. The woman who raised me, who taught me to braid hair and make lasagna and balance a checkbook, had measured out poison with the same hands that used to stroke my forehead when I was sick. How was I supposed to feel about that? The next 3 days passed in a blur of police statements, legal consultations, and phone calls from confused relatives. Tracy had advised me not to talk to anyone yet, to let the legal process unfold before dealing with family drama. But word was spreading fast. In a family of 30 people, secrets don't keep long. My Aunt Paula called 6 times before I finally answered on the 7th. "Karina Marie, what is going on? Your mother's in jail? Susan's in jail? I've been calling you for days." I took a breath. "Aunt Paula, did the police talk to you yet?" "Yes, some detective came by yesterday asking questions about your mother's finances. I didn't know what to tell her. Your mother never talked about money troubles with me. She had gambling debts. Over $300,000. Silence. Then quietly, "Oh my God. And she took out a life insurance policy on me. $1.2 million. She forged my signature." No, that can't be right. Your mother loves you." This was going to be the refrain, I realized. Everyone would say the same thing. "She loves you. She would never. There must be a mistake." Aunt Paula. She tried to poison me at the birthday party. She put peanut oil in my wine glass. Emma caught her and called me before I could drink it. The line went dead silent. Then I heard a choking sound. Paula was crying. "I need to go," she said through tears. "I can't. I need to process this." She hung up. Over the next few hours, I had similar conversations with Uncle Raymond, my cousin Amy, my second cousin David. Each one went through the same stages: denial, shock, grief. Some believed me immediately. Others needed to see the evidence. Tracy sent them copies of the police reports, with personal information redacted. One by one, they came around to the terrible truth. My family was fracturing. Some people sided with my mother, convinced there had been a misunderstanding. Others cut her off entirely, horrified by what she'd done. Group texts that had once been full of birthday wishes and shared recipes turned into battlegrounds of accusation and defense. On the 4th day, Tracy called me with new information. "Detective Hayes found something else," she said. "Your EpiPen. The one you carry in your purse. They tested it as part of the evidence collection." My stomach dropped. And it had been tampered with. The epinephrine was diluted with saline. It wouldn't have worked in an emergency. I sat down hard on Tracy's couch. "When? How?" "They're not sure. But your mother had access to your purse at several family dinners over the past 2 months. She could have switched it out any of those times." I thought back. Sunday dinners at my mother's house. I'd leave my purse on the hall table, the same place I'd left it since I was a teenager. Anyone could have gone through it. I'd trusted everyone. Never locked my car. Never thought twice about leaving my things unattended around family. So even if I'd used it, I said slowly, it wouldn't have saved me. No. You would have thought you were protected, but you'd have been dying the whole time. By the time you realized the EpiPen wasn't working, it would have been too late. The calculated cruelty of it stunned me. My mother hadn't just planned to poison me. Shed made sure my only defense would fail. Shed thought of everything, there's more. Tracy continued. Detective Hayes talked to your mechanic. Jake. He said you'd asked him to look at your car at the party, remember? I did remember. In the chaos of that night, I'd almost forgotten. Jake found something wrong with the brakes. The brake lines had been partially cut, not enough to fail immediately, but they would have failed on the highway. Hayes had a forensics team examine them. The cuts were deliberate, done with wire cutters, probably within the past week. Another backup plan. If the poison didn't work, the car accident would. They were really going to kill me, I whispered. Yes, and they had multiple methods prepared. This wasn't a crime of passion. This was systematic, planned. They wanted to make absolutely sure you didn't survive. I felt sick. Emma was at school, her first day back since the incident. I'd debated keeping her home, but Tracy had convinced me that routine would help her. Now I wondered if anywhere was safe. If my own mother had been willing to sabotage my car, what else might she have done? Tracy, what if there's more? What if they planted something in my apartment? Or at my work? Hayes is already on it. They're doing a full sweep of your apartment this afternoon. And they're interviewing your coworkers at the hospital to see if anyone noticed anything strange. I worked as a nurse practitioner at Mercy General Hospital, doing mostly routine checkups and minor procedures. My mother had visited me at work once, about 2 months ago, bringing me lunch. Shed seemed so thoughtful, so caring. Had she been scoping out my workspace? Looking for another opportunity? I can't live like this, I said, looking over my shoulder, wondering what else they did. You won't have to for long. The arraignment's tomorrow. Once they're formally charged, they'll be in jail until trial. You'll be safe. But would I? Even with them locked up, the damage was done. They'd shattered my sense of security, made me question every interaction, every gift, every kind gesture from the past 2 years. How long had they been planning this? When had I stopped being a daughter and become a target? That afternoon, Detective Hayes called me directly. Miss Karina, I wanted to update you personally. We've completed the search of your apartment, and we found 3 things. First, your medication cabinet. Several of your prescription bottles had been tampered with. The pills were replaced with placebos. Your blood pressure medication, your allergy medication, and your multivitamins. I gripped the phone tighter. I took blood pressure medication for mild hypertension. Nothing life-threatening, but if I stopped taking it, I'd start having complications, headaches, dizziness. Over time, real damage. Second, we found a carbon monoxide detector in your bedroom that had been disabled. The batteries were removed, and the backup power source was disconnected. Carbon monoxide. The silent killer. If there'd been a leak, I would have died in my sleep and no one would have known why. Another tragic accident. Third, we found evidence that someone had been entering your apartment without your knowledge. Scratches on the lock consistent with lockpicking. A small camera hidden in your living room smoke detector. I couldn't breathe. A camera. Yes. It's been there for approximately 3 months, based on the dust patterns. We're pulling the footage now to see who installed it. 3 months. They'd been watching me, learning my routines, my habits, when I came and went, when Emma was home alone. We've secured your apartment, Hayes continued. Changed the locks, removed all surveillance equipment, but I'd recommend staying somewhere else for a while, just until we're certain there are no other surprises. After she hung up, I sat in stunned silence. Tracy found me there an hour later, staring at nothing. They told you, she said softly. I nodded. It's a lot to process. They were in my home, watching me, touching my things, replacing my medication. I looked up at her. Tracy, what if Emma had been hurt? What if the carbon monoxide detector thing had worked and we'd both died? But you didn't. You're safe. Only because she happened to come home early from a sleepover. Only because she hid in a pantry and recorded a conversation. We survived by accident. By luck. No, Tracy said firmly. You survived because your daughter is smart and brave, because you listened to her when she warned you. Because you have good instincts. Don't diminish that. But it was hard not to feel like a victim. Hard not to feel powerless. My own mother had orchestrated a months-long campaign to murder me, and I'd been completely oblivious. What did that say about me? About my judgment? That night, when I picked Emma up from school, she could tell something was wrong. What happened? She asked as soon as she got in the car. I debated lying, protecting her, but she'd already seen so much. She deserved the truth. The police found more evidence. Grandma and Aunt Susan did a lot of things to try to hurt me. They were planning this for a long time. Emma's face crumpled. How long? Months. Maybe 6 months or more. So when Grandma took me to the movies in July, and when she bought me that necklace for my birthday, she was already planning to kill you. I hadn't thought about it that way. The necklace, a delicate silver chain with a small heart pendant. Emma had loved it, wore it every day. It was a grandmother's gift to her granddaughter, given with a smile and a hug, and the whole time, that same grandmother was researching murder methods. Yes, I said quietly. I think so. Emma reached up and unclasped the necklace. She held it in her palm, staring at it. Then she rolled down the window and threw it out onto the street. Emma, I don't want anything from her. Not anymore. I understood, but I also knew that years from now, she might regret that moment. Might wish she'd kept some tangible memory of the grandmother she'd loved before everything broke. Then again, maybe throwing it away was the healthiest thing she could do. Maybe we both needed to throw away everything they'd given us and start fresh. When we got back to Trace's house, there was a car in the driveway I didn't recognize. Tracy met us at the door with an apologetic expression. Your cousin Jake is here, and he brought Amy and David. They want to talk to you. Inside, my 3 cousins sat in Trace's living room looking uncomfortable. Jake stood when I entered. We heard what the police found, he said. The brake lines. The medication. All of it. Amy, 32 and a teacher, had tears streaming down her face. Karina, I'm so sorry. We should have known something was wrong. We should have protected you. It's not your fault, but we're family, David said. He was 28, worked in IT, always the quiet one at gatherings. We should have noticed. Jake stepped forward. We want to help, however we can. Money, housing, protection, whatever you need. You're not alone in this. Looking at their faces, I realized they were grieving too. Not just for what had almost happened to me, but for the loss of the family structure they'd thought they knew. Margaret and Susan's actions had broken something fundamental. The trust that bound us all together had shattered, and we were all trying to figure out how to move forward. Thank you, I said. That means everything. Emma hugged each of them in turn. They were her family too. The ones who showed up. The ones who chose love over loyalty to people who'd done terrible things. That night, lying in bed, I finally let myself cry. Not for my mother or sister, but for the version of them I'd thought existed. The loving parent, the supportive sibling. Those people had never been real. Or maybe they had been real once and something had twisted them into monsters. Either way, they were gone, and I had to mourn them before I could move forward. The arraignment happened on a gray Tuesday morning. Tracy went to represent my interests, while I stayed at her house with Emma. I couldn't face seeing my mother and sister in person yet. Couldn't trust myself not to scream at them in open court. Tracy called me afterward. They both pled not guilty. Said they were being framed. Margaret claimed you've been mentally unstable since your divorce and this is some kind of revenge plot. I laughed bitterly. Of course she did. The judge wasn't buying it. He reviewed the evidence and set bail at $500,000 each, which they can't make. So they're staying in jail until trial. When's the trial? Probably 6 months. Maybe longer. These things take time. 6 months. Half a year of living in limbo, waiting for closure, waiting to testify against my own mother in court. But something Tracy said next changed everything. Karina, Margaret's lawyer, requested a meeting. She wants to make a statement to you directly. I told him absolutely not, but he said Margaret's insisting. She says she needs you to hear her side. Why would I agree to that? You wouldn't, unless... Tracy paused. Unless we use it as an opportunity. For what? To get a full confession. On record, with witnesses. I understood what she was suggesting. You want me to wear a wire. Detective Hayes does. She thinks if Margaret talks to you face to face, she'll say things she wouldn't say to the police, especially if she thinks she can manipulate you. And if I refuse, then we go to trial with the evidence we have, which is substantial, but a confession would seal it. Make it impossible for any jury to acquit. I thought about it. The idea of seeing my mother made my skin crawl. But the idea of her walking free because of some technicality or sympathetic jury made me feel worse. "I'll do it," I said. The meeting was set for Friday afternoon at the county jail. Detective Hayes briefed me on the plan. I'd wear a small recording device clipped inside my shirt. Tracy would be with me. A guard would be present the entire time. It'd be completely safe. Let her talk, Hayes instructed. Don't accuse her of anything. Just ask questions. Act confused, hurt. She'll try to explain herself, justify what she did. That's when people reveal the truth. I practiced my approach, kept my voice neutral, showed no anger. Just sad disappointment. By Friday, I felt as ready as I'd ever be. The jail was a concrete building downtown, all harsh lighting and the smell of industrial cleaner. Tracy and I went through security, surrendering our phones and bags. The recording device I wore was so small it looked like a button on my cardigan. Nobody noticed. They brought my mother into a small meeting room. She wore an orange jumpsuit and her hair was greasy, unwashed. She'd lost weight. Her face was gaunt, and there were dark circles under her eyes. When she saw me, she started crying immediately. "Karina, oh, sweetheart, thank God you came." I sat across from her at the metal table. Tracy sat beside me, silent and watchful. A guard stood by the door. "Mom," I said quietly. "This is all a terrible mistake," Margaret said, reaching across the table toward me. I didn't take her hand. "I don't know how things got so twisted. The police are saying horrible things about me, things that aren't true. The recording. Mom, I heard you on the recording." Her face flickered. A micro-expression I'd learned to read as a nurse. Calculation. She was deciding how to play this. "That was taken out of context," she said. "Susan and I were talking about a hypothetical. A conversation about a crime show we'd watched. We do that sometimes. Talk through mysteries. It's like a game. A game about poisoning me. No, not you specifically. Just discussing how someone could commit a crime and get away with it. It was theoretical. Entertainment." I almost believed her. Almost. She was that good. 60 years of practice at lying made her performance nearly flawless. But I'd heard the recording too many times. Knew the cold, planning tone in her voice. "What about the bottle?" I asked. "The peanut oil in your purse. Susan planted it there. She's trying to frame me. She's always been jealous of our relationship, yours and mine. She wanted to drive a wedge between us. Blame Susan, distance herself, classic manipulation. And the wine glass. I poured you wine, special wine for a toast. I have no idea what Susan might have done to it when I wasn't looking." I leaned forward. "Mom, they found searches on your computer. Searches about peanut allergies, about how much peanut oil is lethal." Her mask slipped for just a second. Then she recovered. "Research. I was researching for your benefit. I wanted to make sure I understood your allergy better, to keep you safe, by learning how to kill me. That's not what I was doing." Her voice rose. The guard shifted by the door. Margaret noticed and lowered her voice again, trying for calm. "Karina, you have to believe me. I'm your mother. I love you more than anything in this world. I would never hurt you." "Then why the life insurance policy?" "What life insurance policy?" "The one you took out on me. $1.2 million. With a forged signature." Margaret's face went pale. Then red. Then she laughed. Actually laughed. "Is that what this is about? Money?" "Karina, I was trying to protect you. If something happened to you, Emma would be taken care of. That's what mothers do. They plan ahead. By forging my signature, I had your power of attorney. That gives me the right to make financial decisions on your behalf. Medical decisions, Mom. Not financial, and not without my knowledge." She waved a hand dismissively. "Technicalities. The point is, I was looking out for your interests. And Emma's. You're a single mother. What would happen to her if you died? I was being responsible. It was masterful. The way she twisted everything, made herself the hero, me the ungrateful daughter who didn't appreciate her sacrifices. What about your gambling debts? I asked. Her entire body stiffened. Who told you about that? It's on the recording. You and Susan talking about owing $300,000 to someone named Polly. Margaret's jaw worked. For a long moment she said nothing. Then, quietly, I made mistakes. I got in over my head, but I was handling it. By killing me and collecting insurance money. No. She slammed her hand on the table. The guard stepped forward. Margaret took a breath, forcing herself calm again. No. I was trying to protect myself, yes. But not by hurting you. Susan twisted everything. She convinced me there was no other way. She said if I didn't pay Polly by December, he'd kill me. She said we needed money fast and the insurance was the only option. So it was Susan's idea. Yes, all of it. The peanut oil, the plan. She researched everything. I just went along with it because I was scared. I wasn't thinking clearly. She was throwing Susan under the bus. Completely. Trying to save herself by sacrificing her own sister. But you put the peanut oil in my wine glass, I said. Emma saw you. Margaret hesitated. Then, Susan told me to. She said it was a test, to see if I was serious about solving our money problem. I was going to throw it out before you drank it. I swear. You swear you were going to stop me? Yes. I leaned back in my chair. Then why didn't you? When I went outside, when I came back in, you pushed me to drink the wine. You insisted. You said it would mean so much to you if I toasted with that specific glass. I was playing along. Keeping up appearances for Susan. If Id backed out, she would have done something worse. Like what? I don't know. But Susan's dangerous. More dangerous than you realize. She's been planning this for a long time. She manipulated me. I'm a victim here too. I studied my mother's face. The lines around her eyes. The mouth Id inherited. The hands that had held mine when I learned to cross the street. Do you feel guilty? I asked. At all. Margaret's eyes filled with tears. Of course I do. Every second. I hate myself for even considering it. But Karina, you have to understand. I was desperate. These people Polly works for, they don't make idle threats. They would have hurt me. Maybe killed me. I was trying to survive. By sacrificing me. I wasn't thinking straight. The fear, the pressure, it all clouded my judgment. I made terrible choices, but I never wanted you dead. You have to believe that. I didn't believe it. Not for a second. But I kept my face neutral, my voice soft. What about my EpiPen? The one you disabled? Her face went blank. I didn't disable anything. The police tested it. The medication was diluted with saline. It wouldn't have worked in an emergency. Susan must have done that. You had access to my purse at every family dinner for 2 months. So did Susan. And my brake lines? Did Susan cut those too? Margaret's composure cracked. I don't know anything about brake lines. Someone cut them. Partially. So they'd fail on the highway. That wasn't me. I swear on your father's grave, that wasn't me. Then who was it? Susan. She said the name like a curse. Susan's, the one who wanted you dead. I just went along because I was terrified. But she's the mastermind. She planned everything. Including the camera in my smoke detector. Margaret blinked. What camera? The one that's been in my apartment for 3 months. Recording me. Learning my routine. I don't know anything about a camera. But her eyes said otherwise. They flickered left. A tell. She was lying. Mom, I said gently. This is your chance to tell the truth, to come clean. If Susan really forced you into this, if you were scared and manipulated, the court might show leniency, but you have to be honest, completely honest. Margaret stared at me. I could see the war happening behind her eyes. Desperation versus self-preservation, pride versus panic. Finally, she leaned forward and lowered her voice. Okay. Okay. I'll tell you the real story. But you can't tell the police. Not yet. Mom, Trace is my lawyer. Anything you say to me, she hears. I don't care about her. I'm talking to you. My daughter. Person to person. I nodded slowly. Okay. Tell me. Margaret took a shaky breath. The gambling debts are real. $312,000. I borrowed from the wrong people. They were going to kill me. But here's the thing. Your father's will. He left everything to you. The house, the savings, the investments. It should have been mine. We were married for 35 years. But he gave it all to you. There it was. The real reason. Not just desperation. Resentment. Jealousy. So you decided I didn't deserve it? I asked. No, I decided you didn't need it. You have your job, your career, you're young. You could earn that money back in 10 years. But me? I'm 60. I can't work anymore. My knees are bad. My back's shot. I needed that money to survive. But it wasn't yours. It should have been. Her voice hardened. I spent 35 years raising you, taking care of your father, keeping that house. And for what? So he could leave everything to you and I could start over with nothing? That's not fair. So you tried to kill me to fix it. Not kill. Just remove the obstacle. You'd be gone. Emma would inherit. It'd become her guardian. I could access the money and pay off my debts. Everyone would be taken care of. Everyone except me. You wouldn't suffer. I made sure of that. Peanut allergy reactions are fast. You'd lose consciousness in minutes. It would be peaceful. I felt nauseous. And Emma? What about her watching her mother die? She's strong. She'd get over it. Kids are resilient. She's 12, Mom. Old enough to understand that sometimes tragedies happen. She'd have been sad, yes. But I'd have taken care of her. Given her a good life. Better than you could have given her with your nurse's salary. There it was. The full confession. Cold. Calculated. No real remorse. Just justification. I stood. I think we're done here. Margaret's face shifted to panic. Wait, where are you going? I thought we were working this out. We're not working anything out. You just admitted to trying to murder me for inheritance money. I didn't admit anything. We were having a private conversation. Mother to daughter. You can't use this against me. Tracy stood too, her face grim. Actually, Mrs. Margaret, we can. And we will. Margaret's eyes widened as she realized her mistake. No, you can't record without my consent. That's illegal, not in a jail, Detective Hayes said, stepping into the room from where she'd been listening in the observation area next door. Inmates have no expectation of privacy. Everything said in this room is monitored and recorded. You signed a waiver acknowledging that when you requested this meeting. Margaret lunged across the table toward me. The guard grabbed her before she could reach me, pulling her back. She screamed, "You set me up, you conniving little bitch! After everything I did for you, everything you did for me." I stayed calm, even as my heart raced. You tried to murder me, Mom. You disabled my EpiPen. You cut my brake lines. You put a camera in my home. All for money. That's what I'm worth to you. A life insurance payout. You don't understand. Those men were going to kill me. So you decided to kill me first. It wasn't supposed to go this far. Susan pushed me into it. I was just supposed to scare you, make you give me money voluntarily. But then she said this was easier. Cleaner. And I listened to her because I was desperate. You had choices, Mom. You could have asked me for help, could have told me about the debts, could have declared bankruptcy. But instead, you chose murder. Margaret collapsed back into her chair, sobbing. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Please, please forgive me. I'm your mother. I love you. No, I said quietly. You don't love me. You love what I represented. Money, security, a way out of your mistakes. But you don't love me. I walked out of the room. Tracy followed. Behind us, I could hear my mother screaming my name, begging me to come back. The guard's radio crackled as backup was called to restrain her. In the hallway, Detective Hayes pulled off the recording device from my shirt. That was perfect. Better than I could have hoped. We've got everything we need now. What happens next? I asked. Her lawyer will try to claim duress or diminished capacity. But with this confession, combined with all the physical evidence, no jury will believe her. She's going to prison for a long time. And Susan, we're meeting with her next. Showing her the recording of your mother, blaming everything on her. I bet she'll flip and give her own confession within an hour. Tracy put her arm around me. You did great. I know that was hard. It had been hard, harder than it expected, because part of me had still hoped, still wanted her to show real remorse. To break down and admit Shed made a terrible mistake and genuinely regret it. But instead, Shed just tried to manipulate me one more time. To save herself at Susan's expense. To play the victim while justifying attempted murder. As we walked out of the jail into the afternoon sunlight, I felt something shift inside me. The grief was still there. The betrayal still stung. But underneath it, I felt something else. Relief. It was really over. She couldn't hurt me anymore. The evidence was overwhelming. The confession was recorded. Justice was coming. Emma was waiting at Trace's house when we got back. She looked up anxiously when I walked in. How did it go? I sat beside her on the couch and pulled her close. It went exactly how it needed to. Grandma confessed to everything. She's going to prison. Emma was quiet for a moment. Then, are you okay? I will be. We both will be. Do you think she's sorry? I thought about the question carefully. I think she's sorry she got caught. But I don't think she's sorry for what she did. Not really. Emma nodded like Shed expected that answer. Good. Then I don't have to feel bad about not missing her. You can feel however you need to feel, baby. There's no right or wrong way to process this. I just feel relieved, Emma said. Is that weird? I should be sad, right? She's my grandma. But mostly I just feel like we're safe now. That's not weird at all. That's exactly what you should feel. That night, after Emma went to bed, Tracy and I sat in her kitchen drinking tea. My phone had been buzzing all evening with messages from family members who'd heard about what happened at the jail. Word traveled fast. Jake, heard your mom confessed. You okay? Amy, I can't believe she actually said all that. I'm so sorry. Aunt Paula, I owe you an apology. I should have believed you from the start. Your mother fooled us all. Uncle Raymond, whatever you need from us, you have it. We're on your side. One by one, the family was choosing me over her. Choosing truth over comfortable lies. There were a few holdouts. My mother's sister, Aunt Diane, sent a message saying Id trapped Margaret unfairly, that Id manipulated a scared woman into saying things she didn't mean. But Diane had always been Margaret's defender. Even now, she couldn't accept reality. How do you feel? Tracy asked. Like I can breathe again, I said. Like maybe we're going to be okay. You are. Both of you. Thank you. For everything. For believing me. For helping us. For letting us stay here. That's what friends do. I looked at her. This woman who'd stood by me without hesitation. Who'd used her legal expertise to protect me. Who'd opened her home and her heart. Your family, I said. More than some of the people I share blood with. Tracy smiled. Then I guess we get to choose our family after all. 3 weeks passed. 3 weeks of newspaper articles, whispered conversations, and a media circus I hadn't anticipated. Apparently, mother tries to murder daughter for insurance money was headline-worthy. Reporters camped outside Trace's house until she threatened them with harassment charges. My workplace was inundated with calls. I took a leave of absence from the hospital. Unable to face the stares and questions. Susan had indeed confessed, just as Detective Hayes predicted. Shed blamed everything on Margaret at first, then cracked when shown Margaret's confession. Her version of events painted her as a reluctant participant, coerced by her desperate sister. The prosecution wasn't buying it. Both women were charged with attempted murder in the first degree, conspiracy to commit murder, insurance fraud, and a dozen other counts. Their trial was set for April. 6 months away. 6 months of waiting, of looking over my shoulder, of waking up from nightmares where I drank from that wine glass. Emma started therapy with Dr. Sarah Chen, a child psychologist who specialized in family trauma. After the first session, Emma seemed lighter somehow. Having a neutral party to talk to, someone who wasn't me or Tracy or another family member with their own grief to process, helped her make sense of what had happened. I found my own therapist, Dr. Marcus Rivera, a calm man in his 50s who let me rage and cry and sit in silence when words failed. He taught me that grief and relief could coexist, that I could mourn the loss of my mother while simultaneously feeling grateful to be alive, that both feelings were valid. The family had fractured into clear camps. Jake, Amy, David, Uncle Raymond, and Aunt Paula stood firmly on my side. They'd cut contact with Margaret and Susan, refused to visit them in jail, made their positions clear. Aunt Diane and a few distant cousins maintained that there had to be more to the story, that Margaret deserved compassion. The holiday season approaching promised to be complicated. On a Tuesday in late October, my lawyer called with news. Margaret's attorney reached out. She said, "They want to discuss a plea deal." What kind of deal? If Margaret pleads guilty to attempted murder, they'll drop the insurance fraud charges and recommend a sentence of 15 years instead of 20. She'd be eligible for parole after 10. And Susan, same deal. They'd both have to allocate, which means fully admitting to what they did in open court. No more blaming each other. Taking full responsibility. I thought about it. 10 to 15 years. Margaret would be 70 when she got out, maybe older. Susan would be in her late 50s. They'd miss birthdays, holidays, Emma growing up. They'd lose a decade or more of their lives, but I'd almost lost my entire life. Emma had almost lost her mother. "What do you think I should do?" I asked. "That's not my decision to make. But I can tell you that going to trial is risky. Juries can be unpredictable. There's a chance they could sympathize with two women who were desperate about money, a chance they could reduce the charges or find them guilty of lesser crimes. You think they might get away with it? I think there's always that possibility. The plea deal guarantees prison time. A trial is a gamble." I hung up and sat with the decision for a long time. Part of me wanted to see them in court, wanted to watch them face the full consequences of their actions, but another part of me just wanted it over. Wanted to move on with my life without months of trial, preparation, testimony, media coverage. That evening, Emma and I went for a walk in the park. The leaves were turning gold and red, falling in scattered drifts across the paths. We'd been taking walks every evening. Dr. Chen's suggestion for maintaining routine and connection. "Mom," Emma asked as we circled the pond, "can I ask you something?" "Always. Do you miss Grandma?" I considered the question carefully. I miss who I thought she was, the version of her I believed in. But that person doesn't exist. She never did. So no, I don't miss the real her. Me neither. Emma said quietly. "I keep trying to remember good times with her. Like when she took me to the zoo last summer or when we made cookies at Christmas. But now all those memories feel fake. Like she was pretending the whole time. Maybe she was pretending. Or maybe those moments were real and she just lost her way later. People are complicated. They can be both good and bad. But if someone tries to kill you, doesn't that erase all the good stuff?" "I don't know, baby. I'm still figuring that out." We walked in silence for a while, watching ducks paddle across the pond. Finally, Emma said, "I think I want to write her a letter." "To Grandma." "Yeah, not to give to her. Just for me. Dr. Chen says it might help to write down everything I'm feeling. All the stuff I never got to say." "That sounds like a good idea. Will you write one too?" I hadn't thought about it, but maybe Emma was right. Maybe I needed to say goodbye to the mother I'd thought I had, to put all the anger and grief and confusion into words. "Yeah," I said. "I'll write one too." That night, after Emma went to bed, I sat at Trace's kitchen table with a blank notebook. I stared at the empty page for a long time, pen hovering. Where did I even start? Finally, I wrote, "Mom, I don't know if I'll ever give you this letter. I don't know if you'd even read it if I did. But Dr. Rivera says I need to express what I'm feeling, so here goes. I'm angry, furious. You tried to kill me. Your own daughter. The child you gave birth to, raised, claimed to love. You measured out poison and put it in my drink and waited for me to die. How do I process that? How do I make sense of it? But I'm also sad. Because I lost you long before you tried to kill me. I lost you when gambling became more important than honesty. When money became more important than family. When your desperation turned you into someone I don't recognize. I keep thinking about all the moments I trusted you. Every Sunday dinner. Every birthday party. Every time I left Emma in your care. How many of those moments were lies? How many times were you calculating, planning, looking for opportunities? You blamed Susan. Susan blamed you. But the truth is, you're both responsible. You both made choices. And those choices almost took me from my daughter. That's unforgivable. I want to hate you. Part of me does. But another part of me just feels sorry for you. Sorry that you couldn't see another way out. Sorry that 60 years of life taught you that murder was a solution to debt. Sorry that you valued money more than your own child. I don't think you'll ever understand why you did this. Maybe you don't understand it yourself. But I'm done looking for answers. I'm done trying to make sense of the senseless. This is goodbye. Not because you're going to prison, but because I'm choosing to let go of who I thought you were. I'm choosing to build a life without you in it. Emma and I deserve better. We deserve people who love us genuinely, who would never hurt us, who show up for us without hidden agendas. I hope someday you realize what you threw away. I hope the weight of it keeps you up at night, not because I want you to suffer, but because I want you to understand, to truly understand what you did. But even if you never do, even if you go to your grave thinking you were justified, it'll be okay, because I survived. I'm still here, you didn't win. Goodbye, Mom. Karina. I set down the pen, tears streaming down my face. But they weren't tears of sadness. They were tears of release, of letting go, of choosing myself and Emma over a relationship that had been built on lies. I folded the letter and put it in my purse. Maybe I'd give it to her someday. Maybe I wouldn't. But writing it had helped, had given me clarity. The next morning, I called Tracy. Tell Margaret's lawyer I'll accept the plea deal. Under one condition. What condition? Before sentencing, I want to meet with both of them. One final conversation. I have things I need to say. Tracy was quiet for a moment. Are you sure that's a good idea? No, but I need to do it anyway, she sighed. I'll make it happen. 2.5 months after my mother's birthday party, I sat in a small conference room at the county jail, waiting. Tracy was beside me. Detective Hayes stood by the door. Emma had insisted on coming too, despite my protests. She sat on my other side, her hand gripping mine tightly. You don't have to do this. I told her one more time. Yes, I do, Emma said. Her voice was steady, mature beyond her 12 years. I need to see their faces. I need them to see mine. The door opened. A guard brought Margaret in first, then Susan. Both wore orange jumpsuits. Both looked thinner, older, worn down by incarceration. They sat across from us at the metal table, handcuffed, their eyes downcast. Margaret looked up first. When she saw Emma, she started crying. Oh, sweetheart, baby girl. I've missed you so much. Emma's hand tightened on mine, but she said nothing. Susan's voice was hoarse. Karina, please. We need to talk about this. We need to work something out. I waited until they both stopped talking. Then I said, I didn't come here to work anything out. I came here to say what I need to say, and you're going to listen. Margaret opened her mouth to protest. Tracy held up a hand. Let her speak. That was the agreement. I took a breath and began. 3 months ago, you both decided my life was worth less than money. You planned my murder for 6 months. You researched methods. You forged documents. You sabotaged my medication, my car, my home. You put a camera in my apartment to watch me. You calculated exactly how to kill me and make it look like an accident. Karina, please understand, Margaret started. No. You don't get to explain. Not anymore. I've heard your explanations. Your justifications, your excuses. None of them matter because nothing justifies what you did. Susan was crying now too, mascara running down her face. We were desperate. You don't know what it's like to be that desperate. You're right. I don't know what it's like to be so desperate that I'd murder my own family. Because I have values. I have boundaries. I have a conscience. I leaned forward. You both pled guilty. You're going to prison. 15 years minimum. That's what you chose. That's what your actions earned you. And I'm not here to ask for leniency. I'm not here to forgive you. I'm here to make sure you understand something. Both women looked at me, their faces pale and drawn. You failed, I said. You failed to kill me. You failed to get away with it. You failed as a mother, as a sister, as a human being, and now you're going to spend the next decade or more thinking about that failure, thinking about what you threw away. Margaret's face crumpled. I'm your mother. Doesn't that mean anything? Emma spoke up for the first time, her voice clear and strong. You stopped being her mother when you tried to kill her. You stopped being my grandmother. Family doesn't do what you did. Margaret reached across the table toward Emma. The guard stepped forward. Margaret pulled her hand back, sobbing. I love you both, Margaret said desperately. I know I made mistakes, but I love you. That has to count for something. It doesn't, Emma said simply. Because love isn't just words. It's actions, and your actions showed you don't love us at all. I felt pride swell in my chest. My daughter, this brave, wise, incredible child, had summarized in 2 sentences what I'd been struggling to articulate for months. Susan found her voice. What about mercy? What about second chances? Everyone makes mistakes. This wasn't a mistake, I said. A mistake is forgetting someone's birthday, burning dinner, saying something hurtful in anger. What you did was calculated, deliberate, and sustained over months. That's not a mistake. That's a choice. A series of choices. So what are you asking for? Margaret demanded, some of her old defiance creeping back. Revenge? You want to watch us suffer? No. I don't want anything from you. I'm here to tell you that I forgive you. Not because you deserve it. Not to make you feel better. But because I refuse to let what you did poison the rest of my life. Both women stared at me in shock. I forgive you for my own peace, I continued. For my own healing. So I can move forward without carrying this rage forever. But forgiveness doesn't mean no consequences. It doesn't mean we have a relationship. It doesn't mean I'll write letters or visit or think of you with anything but pity. It means I'm choosing to let go of you. Both of you. Completely. Margaret shook her head frantically. No. No, you can't do that. I'm your mother. We're family. You can't just cut me out. I can. And I am. You made your choices. Now I'm making mine. And I choose me. I choose Emma. I choose the people who actually love us and would never hurt us. Susan leaned forward, her voice pleading. What about when we get out? In 10 years? 15 years? Will you give us another chance then? I thought about it honestly. Tried to imagine a world where, 15 years from now, I'd welcome these women back into my life. I couldn't picture it. I don't know, I said. Maybe time and prison and reflection will change you into different people, people capable of genuine remorse and growth. If that happens, we can talk. But I'm not holding my breath, and I'm not waiting around for it. Emma nodded beside me. I'll be 27 when you get out, Grandma. I might have kids of my own by then, and they'll never know you. They'll never hear stories about you, because I'm not going to tell them their great-grandmother tried to murder their grandmother. That's not a legacy I want them to have. The finality of Emma's words hung in the air. Margaret let out a wail, a raw sound of grief and regret that might have moved me once. Now it just made me tired. I think we're done here, Tracy said, standing. As we moved toward the door, Susan called out. Karina, wait, please. Just tell me one thing. Do you really forgive us? I turned back, looked at both of them. My mother and my sister. Once the most important people in my life. Now strangers who'd tried to kill me. I forgive you the way I'd forgive anyone who hurt me, I said. With distance, with boundaries, with the understanding that forgiveness doesn't equal reconciliation. I release the anger. I release the need for revenge, but I also release you from my life, permanently. Margaret lunged forward, screaming, "You ungrateful bitch! After everything I did for you, I gave you life. You wouldn't exist without me." The guard grabbed her, pulling her back. She fought against him, still screaming. "I should have done it differently. Should have made sure you couldn't trace it back to me. You think you're so smart, but you're just a stupid little girl who ruined everything." There it was. The real Margaret. No more tears, no more manipulation, just rage that her plan had failed. I looked at Tracy. "I think we can go now." We walked out as Margaret continued screaming behind us, her voice echoing down the hallway. In the parking lot, Emma threw her arms around me. "That was scary," she admitted. "I know. But it's over now. Really over." "She's not sorry at all, is she?" "No, baby. I don't think she is. And that's okay. We don't need her to be sorry for us to heal." 6 months later, the trial was complete. Both Margaret and Susan had honored their plea deals, allocating in full to attempted murder. The judge sentenced them each to 15 years with the possibility of parole after 10. They were sent to different prisons, their sisterhood another casualty of their choices. By then, Emma and I had already moved on. Wed left Trace's house and found a small apartment across town, away from the neighborhood where I'd grown up. Away from memories and prying eyes. I'd gone back to work at a different hospital where nobody knew my story. Emma thrived. Shed started writing about her experience in a journal that eventually became a blog about family trauma and healing. She called it Choosing Better. It resonated with other kids dealing with toxic family members. She got letters from all over the country, from children and teenagers who felt seen and validated by her words. I'd started dating someone. His name was Ben, and he was a high school English teacher with a kind smile and steady presence. I'd told him everything on our third date, expecting him to run. Instead, Head said, "That must have been terrifying. I'm glad you survived." No judgment. No drama. Just acceptance. Jake, Amy, and David remained constant presences in our lives. We had Sunday dinners again, but at rotating houses, building new traditions unburdened by the past. Uncle Raymond taught Emma to play chess. Aunt Paula taught her to knit. They were the family we chose, the people who showed up without expecting anything in return. One evening in late spring, Emma and I were baking cookies in our new kitchen. The apartment was small but bright, with big windows that let in the afternoon sun. Music played on my phone. The scent of chocolate chip cookies filled the air. "Mom?" Emma asked as she carefully spooned dough onto a baking sheet. "Yeah. Do you think Grandma and Aunt Susan understand now what they did wrong?" I thought about Margaret's final outburst at the jail. The rage in her voice. The complete lack of remorse. "I don't know," I said honestly. "Maybe someday they will. Maybe prison will give them time to reflect and change. But whether they understand or not doesn't really matter to us anymore, because we've moved on." "Exactly." Emma nodded, satisfied with that answer. We worked in comfortable silence for a few minutes. Then she said, "I'm glad it was just us for a while. Before Ben and the cousins and everyone else, I liked having you to myself." "Me too, baby. Me too. But I also like that we're building something new, something that's ours, with people who really love us." I pulled her into a hug, getting flour on both of us. "You know what I learned from all of this?" "What?" "That family isn't just blood. It's people who love you, protect you, show up for you. It's the people who celebrate with you when things are good and hold you up when things are bad. And by that definition, we have an amazing family." "Yeah," Emma said, smiling. "We really do." Later that night, after Emma went to bed, I sat on the small balcony of our apartment with a cup of tea. The city lights twinkled below. Somewhere out there, my mother and sister were in their cells, living with their choices. But here, in this moment, I was free. I thought about the life lesson this whole experience had taught me. The wisdom it'd carry forward. Forgiveness is for your own healing, not for excusing someone else's harm. You can forgive and still maintain boundaries. You can release anger and still demand justice. True family is defined by love and loyalty, not DNA. Blood ties don't obligate you to accept abuse or betrayal. Most importantly, protecting yourself and those you love isn't selfish. It's necessary. It's an act of self-respect and wisdom. Some boundaries can never be crossed, and it's not only okay to walk away from people who tried to destroy you, it's essential. Even if they share your blood, even if they're supposed to love you, even if society tells you that family is everything. Because family is everything. But family is what you make it. It's the people who prove through actions, not words, that they value your life and well-being. It's the ones who would never dream of hurting you, let alone planning your death. Emma and I had survived. More than that, Wed learned to thrive. Wed built a new life with people who truly loved us. Wed discovered that resilience isn't just about surviving trauma, it's about choosing how you heal from it. And we chose healing. We chose peace. We chose each other and the family Wed created from the ashes of the one that tried to destroy us. That was the real victory. Not that my mother and sister went to prison, though justice mattered. The real victory was that we refused to let their actions define us. We refused to become bitter or broken. We took the worst thing that could have happened and transformed it into strength, wisdom, and a deeper appreciation for the people who genuinely care. As I sat on that balcony, looking at the stars, I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time: genuine happiness. The kind that comes from knowing you're exactly where you're supposed to be, with exactly the people you're meant to be with. Emma was safe. I was safe. We were building a future that belonged entirely to us. And that was everything. I want to ask you something important. Have you ever had to set boundaries with family members who hurt you? Have you struggled with the idea of forgiveness versus maintaining distance? How do you define family for yourself? I'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. If this story resonated with you, please like this video and subscribe to the channel for more real stories about resilience, healing, and the strength it takes to choose yourself. Share this with anyone who might need to hear that it's okay to walk away from toxic relationships, even family ones. Thank you so much for listening to my story. I know it was heavy, but I hope it offered you something valuable, whether that's validation, perspective, or simply the comfort of knowing you're not alone in dealing with difficult family dynamics. Remember, you deserve people who truly love you. You deserve safety. You deserve peace. Never apologize for protecting yourself and the people you love. That's not selfishness. That's wisdom. Take care of yourselves and each other. Until next time.